I can't look back, it's too late now. My days are hours and I don't know how, but I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
Hello and welcome to the 83rd Breakfast Ball. I'm your host, Bob Cardia. And as always, if you like what we're doing, please smash that subscribe button. And if you do comment, I love the Breakfast Ball in the comment section, you are eligible to win a Starbucks gift card. So I know we just sent some more out today. So if you're interested, please, by all means, if you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button, and we do appreciate it. Anyway, today our episode is called Dance Like There's Nobody Watching. This is actually, we are the oldest golf school in New Jersey. We've been now our 45th consecutive year of operation, pushing 50 years, which is crazy. I was kidding around with somebody not too long ago because my father, Dr. Don Cardia, who was, in addition to being a golf teaching professional and a doctor, he was a professional motivational speaker. He founded the business, and I always look at it like, I took over my dad's business, and then it dawned on me recently that my father passed away 28 years ago. So I've now been running the golf schools longer than he had, which blows me away. But anyway, something happened this week during golf camp. And by the way, if you're planning your vacation, ask me first, because the first week of golf camp this year was the hottest week of 2025. And then 2 weeks later, we had our second week of golf camp, and that was the new hottest week of 2025. And then this past week, the first 4 days of the 5-day camp were the 4 hottest days in a row for 2025. So I don't know why, but I could seem to pick either hot or rainy days with alarming certainty. But anyway, so Dance Like There's Nobody Watching. Interesting. So in camp this week, I have one of my long-term private lessons. He comes out once or twice a week, every week for now, probably about a year and a half. And if not longer, I know he's been with me for longer than that, but private lesson-wise. He was in the camp, and I do things at the end of each segment. I have a little competition. I'll call it like the intergalactic longest drive competition, or the intergalactic closest to the pin competition, live on ESPN 6. I would do that, and we break the group down, and each person gets to hit either a shot or two at the target or the long ball or whatnot, and I make it mandatory that after every kid hits, that everyone in the group gives a polite golf clap. But at the end of the day, there's several reasons I do it the way I do it. But when I ask people what the hardest shot to hit in golf is, the shot on the first tee. So, and you've probably heard me tell this story before. I wrestled, I played football, and I played golf. Those are what I did the most of. And I always say the greatest similarities between wrestling and golf. And most people say between golf and football. But the difference is you're on an island by yourself in both wrestling and golf. You're playing football, there's 10 other guys on the field that can help you. Basketball, 4 other guys on the court. And obviously you have 8 other guys on a baseball team that could hit or field. So anyway, with that said, I'm working with my man that I work with each week, and he's again made tremendous progress. But during the competitions, when we did the long sticks, the driver, he was coming slightly over the top, coming slightly out of the shot, and hitting a lower trajectory shot to the left, basically a pull, and almost a pull hook, but a pull. He kept it in play most of the time. But, for those of you who are golf purists, they weren't great-looking shots. So we play this game called golf baseball, which it's interesting. It rewards, if you hit it past a certain distance, a single, a certain distance, a double, a certain distance, a triple, and then if it goes over whatever, 175 in the air down the middle, we call it a home run. And it's for kids, from ages, 8 to 15, 16. So the competition usually gets pretty good. One of the days this week, though, I let the app to the wheel to pick the teams, and it didn't pick them as as fairly as they probably should have been picked. So anyway, they're playing the game, and the one team takes a big lead, and they're probably up double digits. Well, they were up double digits, and then my student, who had been, when under the microscope, pulling his driver, hitting it lower, bad trajectory, he stepped up. When it didn't matter, like when he was so far ahead and his team was so far ahead, to hit the driver, and he smoked it over and over and over again, and like it was effortless. So I gave a speech to the end of the class as a whole at the end of the day, and I was talking to mainly the team that was behind, because I said, no great comeback ever started when you were ahead, right? You got to come back. And what happens, and it's a case study in psychology, is the team that was behind was basically saying, you know what, game's over, we're done, yada, yada, yada. And that's common sense. The attitude, in a defeatist culture is typically, things are going to go bad. But the flip side of that was, and I made the announcement, especially to my one student, I said, did you notice when there was no pressure on, how you smoked the driver, high draw, over and over again like it was nothing? And you ever have one of those conversations when the light pops on over someone's head? And he was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I always tell people the most misunderstood word in golf is swing. Because when, it comes down to it, it is an athletic, light swing, or light and smooth swing, I should say. When I was a site director for the LPGA's girls golf program, which I was for, I guess, close to 10 years, I got to meet the pleasure of meeting a lot of the LPGA players. And, when you're talking to, a 5 foot tall woman that weighs 100 pounds, and she's hitting her drive, 265, 275, it's not because she's on HGH. It's an efficient use of power, a sequence, in the golf swing, lower body moving, the coil, the lag. But the thing of it is, when you try or put too much effort into it, your muscles, they get stiff, because there's really the nerve endings, ligaments, tendons. There's more in your hands than anywhere else really in your golf swing. And what's the one part of your body that touches the club? Is your hands. I mean, that's why Hogan said the waggle was a fundamental, which arguably probably not, but it's to release tension in the hands. So, bottom line is, the story I've told a million times with my father. He had 39 first cousins, and we used to go to weddings and whatnot, and my dad would hop out on the dance floor and dance, and man couldn't dance. It was like a Seinfeld, Elaine. But one day when I asked him, I said, hey, Dad, can you calm it down, or tone it down a little bit? Because I was probably same age these kids are now, 14, 15 years old. My dad turned to me and said, dance like there's nobody watching. And when I watched my student this week hit the driver like, he could, like there was nobody watching, like it didn't matter, it was smoke. So anyway, I guess the goal is, when you're playing this game, when you have the ability, and this kid's put his time in, this kid hits a lot of golf balls, right? Is let your talent take over. Let you be you. Don't think about outcomes. Think about making the best pass at the ball you possibly can. Because nobody can ask anything else from you. You can't ask more from yourself, right? Make the best pass you can make and live with the consequences. Like Kobe Bryant said, right? Why do I worry? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. All I can do is learn and try to improve it the next time. Anyway, just a thought for you folks. Sorry the podcast is a little bit late tonight. We had a super, super, super busy week this past week. But anyway, dance like there's nobody watching. Hit that subscribe button. Look forward to seeing you next week. And remember, right, I love the breakfast bowl at the bottom of that section, comment section, and we'll put you in for a gift card. And if you go on our website, you can still order merch if you like to. Anyway, God bless you, folks. We'll see you next week, and have a great one. Take care.
Glass of bourbon, ha ha. My bourbon, ha ha. My bourbon, ha ha. Alcohol, because no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.